What's up, guys? Welcome back, Leopazzo Productions. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is the part 2 video all about the Saramonic Ultra Wireless Microphone Kit. This microphone kit is jam-packed with so many features that I actually had to make, yes, 2 different videos. So this is the part 2 video, which I'm going to be sharing with you guys basically like the tutorial, going through some more details on the menu and settings and features about this microphone. And video number 1 was basically just getting you guys like an introduction, familiarization with the product, sharing with you guys some of the specs and features as well. But in this video, we're going to be going in a little bit more detail. So if you have not watched part 1, I definitely recommend. I'll leave a link up here at the top and also down into the description as well. And the next thing that I wanted to point out, you guys are listening to this wireless microphone right now. You guys see the lavalier microphone just clipped onto my shirt, which is included with the kit. Yep, that's it. This is what the audio sounds like right out of the box. No effects, no noise cancellation, no low cut filter, nothing done whatsoever. This is what it sounds like right out of the box with the Ultra. Fantastic, super impressed. I'm actually taking advantage of the internal recording right now. You see this little small red LED here onto the transmitter? Yeah, I activated the onboard 32-bit internal recording, which is going to give me basically a WAV file onto this transmitter that I can just simply drag and drop onto my PC and sync later on in post-production. And guess what? Yes, this microphone kit also comes with a timecode option as well. So many features, guys. You know what? Enough talking. Let's jump into it. The Saramonic Ultra. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get even more familiar with the Ultra kit because there's a few features that I want to share with you guys. So starting off, let's go and remove the receiver from the charging case along with transmitter number 1 and transmitter number 2. So you can see within a matter of seconds, all 3 of the devices automatically power on and automatically sync. Both of the transmitters are synced to the receiver. How do we know that? Well, you can see onto the display screen over here, we do have onto the left-hand side transmitter 1 along with the signal strength. We have the microphone gain, and you can see that it is picking up the audio from this microphone as well via those audio level meters. Same thing over here onto the right-hand side for transmitter number 2. And we do also have an indication not only on the display screen on the receiver, but also over here around the power button on each one of the transmitters. You can see that we do have a solid blue light currently right now. Solid blue, for an example, or even solid green, which we will talk about shortly, means that they are synced as well. If they are flashing over here, the power button LED on the transmitters, if they are flashing, that means that it is trying to sync or it's in the process of syncing. So therefore, solid blue or solid green is a good indication because it's telling you that they are connected. Pretty straightforward and easy to use, as you guys can see. So since we were talking about the solid blue or solid green, let's get more familiar with the solid green. So if we turn each one of these transmitters over here to the side, you can see that we do have 2 buttons. Starting off with the button on the bottom, which is labeled as NC for noise cancellation, NC for noise cancellation. So if we go ahead and simply short press the noise cancellation button, look what happens over here onto the front of the receiver. It turned to green, which is telling me that noise cancellation is specifically turned on for this transmitter right over here, number 1. And we also have an indication over here onto the display screen. You can see that little green icon, which is also indicating on the receiver that transmitter number 1 has noise cancellation on. Same thing over here for transmitter number 2. Short press the noise cancellation button, and now we do also have a solid green light there as well around the power button. And to simply deactivate it, you can just go ahead and short press the noise cancellation button. Pretty straightforward and easy to use. Another feature, since we're talking about the power button, let's go ahead and actually short press this power button and see what happens. You'll notice that we do have a flashing red LED over here onto the top right hand side, which is telling us that we just muted transmitter number 1. And we also have that indication over here on the receiver display screen via that little mute icon over there. So to unmute it, pretty straightforward. Just short press the power button, and now it is no longer flashing, and now that microphone is no longer being muted. Same thing goes over here for transmitter number 2. We do also have a record button over here onto the side of each one of the transmitters, again because each one of these transmitters do feature onboard recording up to 32-bit float, which is fantastic, which is going to be a high quality WAV file that we can simply transfer onto our PC and sync later on in post-production. So we can go ahead and activate the onboard recording for each specific specific microphone by simply short pressing the record button. And how do we know it's actually recording? Well, now we have a solid red light over here onto the top of the transmitter. And we do also have this red little dot onto the receiver display screen, which is also indicating that this transmitter number 1 is doing some internal recording. And same idea over here with transmitter number 2. We can press the record button. We got a solid red. Display screen is indicating that as well. So to stop the recording, pretty straightforward. Short press the record button, short press the record button, and bingo. Now those audio files are finished being recorded, and we can transfer them to the PC. Well, how do we transfer those audio files that are being internally recorded to these transmitters? Well, for an example, we'll use transmitter number 1. We'll turn it over here to the left-hand side. Same idea, transmitter number 2. We do have these 2 USB-C connections, and these USB-C connections can be used along with the USB-C to USB-C cable to connect the transmitter to our PC, which is basically going to allow our PC to recognize it, for an example, as an external hard drive or like a USB stick, for an example. And then we can open up the File Explorer and simply just drag and drop the files from this transmitter onto our PC. Same thing goes over here for transmitter number 2. Another cool feature in regards to this USB-C connection on either one of these transmitters, we can actually use this same USB-C to USB-C cable, or if you have a standard USB to USB-C cable, and we can actually charge these transmitters while they're actually being used. So if you want to use these transmitters for like a long days of recording, of filming, sometimes that's what the job requires. So you might be a little bit concerned, well, you know what, these batteries are not going to last as long as you would like. Well, no problem, because you can actually record or use these transmitters while they're actually being charged. So what you can do is just simply connect these transmitters to a USB power bank, maybe something small, stick it into the client's pocket somewhere, maybe run the cable to the transmitter if you need to, and now you can have extra long hours of battery life via that USB-C connection. Let's go and talk about the built-in microphone over here. So again, each one of these transmitters do have internal microphones, just kind of covered up over here by this little metal little grill that we have. And if you wanted to, as we were briefly talking about earlier, we could actually go ahead and connect a lavalier microphone. So this Ultra kit, the model that I purchased, does come with 2 lavalier mics. So we can just go ahead and simply connect it like that. And now we can go ahead and clip on the lavalier microphone onto our client's shirt somewhere, along with this little foam piece over here. So just to go ahead and simply remove it so you guys can have a closer look at the lavalier microphone. Overall, it does seem like a pretty standard lavalier microphone. So you have multiple options as far as the internal microphone or the lavalier microphone. And the same thing goes over here for transmitter number 2. And again, don't forget, we do have these little fluffy windscreens for each one of the transmitters. So you just want to go ahead and line this up with the hole here at the top of the transmitter and simply press down. Same thing over here with this one. And now we have these nice little windscreens for when we're filming outdoors in a windy environment, and they are nice and securely placed on top as well. As you can see on the back of each one of the transmitters, we do have this nice clip design, so we can just clip it onto our clothing or baseball cap or anywhere that you want to simply clip it onto. Or if you wanted to, you can actually take advantage of the magnet that we have here at the back. And this magnet design over here, specifically the magnet, is actually super strong. So I wanted to share with you guys a little tip as far as being able to easily remove the magnet. So instead of trying to wedge your fingers between the magnet and the clip to peel it off, what I suggest is to just slide down just like so. So there's your example. Again, the magnet's on there. You can just get your thumb, for an example, slide downwards, and now the magnet's off. Again, since it's so strong, I find that is the easiest way to actually remove the magnet. So first off, before we go ahead and have a closer look at the receiver's menu and all the settings, what I want to go ahead and show you guys is how to actually control the gain for each one of these microphones. So right now, microphone 1 on my left hand side, you can see it's set to plus 5 dB. The one on my right hand side is also set to plus 5 dB, and we can easily change that by simply pressing down onto this dial over here. So let's go ahead and press down, and now you can see that we have this green box highlighted over transmitter number 1, and we can bring this all the way up to plus 15 dB or all the way down to negative 15 dB. So it's really nice that we can individually control the microphone gain for each microphone, because maybe the person on transmitter 1 is speaking kind of loud, so we can set it to that volume. And maybe for transmitter number 2, they're speaking a little bit lower, so we might might want to increase that volume. So that is a really nice feature that we can independently control each one of the transmitters, internal microphones, or even the lavalier microphones to the setting that we like to use. So if we go ahead and click it one more time, so 3 times, it's going to bring us down over here towards the bottom, this box that's highlighted in green. And you can see that there's an M because I'm in the mono mode. And I currently have the output from this receiver. For an example, the output from this receiver that would be connected to my camera, it's set to -12. So same idea, let's press on this little dial. So it comes down here towards the bottom, and we can bring this down all the way to -15. Same idea all the way up to +15. So we do have nice control, fine tuning of each microphone, and along with the output that we're sending it, for an example, to our camera or our mixer or any type of audio device. And as you guys saw, after a certain amount of seconds, for an example, it just defaults and kind of goes away. So now if you do accidentally touch this dial, none of these settings are going to be interrupted or kind of moved around for you while you are recording. So it's kind of like a little built-in lock, just like that. So now that you guys are a little bit more familiar with the screen and adjusting the microphone gains, etc., why don't we go ahead and just take a look at some exterior features of the receiver itself. So starting off onto the left-hand side, since we were talking about the output, as you guys can see here, this is a 3.5 multifunctional output, and therefore it's pretty straightforward. We're just going to use that TRS cable that comes included with the kit, connect it over here, and on the other end, we're just going to connect this to our camera's microphone input. So therefore, whatever audio the receiver is collecting, we can send that over to our camera microphone input. So if we go ahead and flip over the receiver over here to the right hand side, we do actually have another port over here, and this one is actually going to be used for the external antenna. So this is an optional external antenna, which is basically going to strengthen the signal range between the transmitters and the receiver. So this is definitely really nice. As I was mentioning earlier, I have reviewed several different wireless microphone kits, and yes, all of them do have internal antennas, but this Ultra does have an external antenna as well as an option, which is really nice. So we just go ahead and simply press it in like so, line it up, press it in. It is actually pretty stiff, and you can see the receiver did recognize that the external antenna has been connected. So now for an example, I can mount this onto my camera. I can bring this antenna to whatever kind of angle works best for my needs. So this external antenna is definitely going to be coming in very helpful if you want to do some audio recording in a high density area where there's going to be a lot of interference. This antenna is definitely going to be helping out in that scenario. So we can just go ahead and simply remove it by just pulling this out. And actually, if you guys just noticed, by an accident, I just pressed the power button over here. I short pressed the power button, and what you will notice here onto the display screen, we do have this lock icon. So what does that mean? Well, basically, if I do bump into this receiver and while I'm filming, for an example, or doing some audio recording, nothing is actually going to happen. It's not allowing me to access the menu. So this power button over here also acts as a lock to lock the receiver display screen, so none of your settings accidentally get touched. Let's take a quick peek over here at the back of the receiver, which does also feature this clip design. It's not a magnetic clip design, which we don't really need it to be magnetic, because that's just going to go ahead and simply connect onto our camera's hot shoot or cold shoot mount, or anywhere that you want to clip it onto. Overall, it's been working quite nicely. If we have a closer look over here at the bottom of the receiver, let's just flip it around over here. You will notice right here into the middle, we do have this kind of special connection, which is actually going to allow us to connect either the USB-C adapter or the Lightning adapter, so we can connect it to our mobile phones. So in most cases, I use the USB-C connection because I'm using the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And as you see over here with this little icon, we have the unlocked and the locked position. So this is where it fits into, and now you want to turn it into the locking position. And just like that, it's a nice solid connection, and we can just go ahead and plug that into our phone, and now we can use this receiver along with the transmitters with our mobile phones or PCs, laptops, etc., which is definitely really nice via the USB-C or the Lightning connection. Same idea. So to go ahead and remove it, just simply turn it counterclockwise, and we are done with that adapter for now. You'll also notice over here to the right hand side at the bottom of the receiver, we do have a USB-C connection, and this is also going to be used for an example, when we have that USB-C or that Lightning connection connected to our mobile phone. Well, how are you going to be able to charge your phone in that case if the receiver is occupying that connection onto your phone where you would normally charge it? no problem. Saramonic has us covered because we're going to be able to actually charge our phone at the same time while using this receiver via this USB-C connection, which is definitely really thoughtful and well designed. So it's nice to see that's incorporated. So overall, I think you guys are now more familiar with the receiver external features. So first things first, what I want to do is actually go ahead and show you guys this quick little shortcut. So onto the left hand side of the screen, as you guys saw, we have transmitter 1, transmitter 2 onto the right. So if you swipe down onto the left hand side of the display screen, that's going to bring up some shortcut options for us. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's swipe down, and you can see over here they're not really that illuminated right now, but onto the left hand side we do have the mute option. So I just muted transmitter number 1. I can also turn on or turn off the noise reduction, noise cancellation, and I can also activate the internal recording for transmitter 1 as well. So you guys can see over here, well, it doesn't sound really good or make really much sense to actually record and have it muted. So let's unmute it. Perfect. And now we have a solid red light over there. Noise cancellation, you can see that it's activated because onto the transmitter it's a solid green. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Now it went to solid blue because noise cancellation is off. And if we wanted to disable the recording, bingo, recording is disabled. So to exit out of the shortcut, you just want to go ahead and swipe upwards, and now we are back at the main display. So the same thing applies over here for transmitter number 2. If you want to access those shortcuts within the menu, just swipe down onto the right hand side of the screen. So for us to access the menu, what we want to do is slide from right to left onto the display screen. So let's just go ahead and do that. And the first option that we have over here is output. So if we wanted to, we can simply just use the touchscreen and swipe over to the right or to the left to go to any type of menu setting that you want to, or we can use this dial over here, which in some cases might be a little bit easier. So starting off over here with the output, let's go ahead and select the output. So for us to select it, you just want to go ahead and tap on it. And now we're in this sub menu to choose what output do we want to use. As we were talking about, I'm using the mono mode, but we have stereo, safety, and the headset and the headphone option. So for an example, if we want to keep it on mono or whatever option you want to select and you want to back out of here, you just want to swipe up onto the display screen over here, and that's going to go back to the output mode, the main menu. Let's scroll over to the next one over here, which is the volume. This is where we can control the output for the receiver as we did previously onto the main display screen. We can do it here as well. Let's swipe up to exit. Let's go over to the next one, to microphone gain. Here we got microphone number 1 and microphone number 2. We can adjust the gain. So if we wanted to adjust transmitter number 1, we're going to bring this volume up like so, or we can use the touchscreen by pressing the plus or minus icons right over there. And if we're done setting the microphone gain, we can swipe up. Okay, and if we're done setting the gain for both microphones, we can swipe up again. Let's come over here to the next option, which is the auto gain. We can just go ahead and simply tap on it. Auto gain is currently off, but to simply turn it on, just one short press and auto gain is on. Let's back out of this auto gain option and come to the next one, which is sound. Let's click on sound. So right now we are using the original sound, which is going to be nice high quality. So next over here we have vocal boost, which is going to focus the audio, concentrating on the vocals itself to kind of highlight those vocals for an example. And we do also have the low cut option as well. In most cases, I like to leave it in original, and any post processing or editing I need to do to the audio, I can do that later on in post production. So let's exit out of here by swiping up. Okay, let's come to the next one, which is the record settings. So as you guys can see, I have the 32-bit audio recording enabled. We can go ahead and disable it if you want to, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it on because I mainly use that feature quite often. And we do also have an option over here to turn on auto recording. So what auto recording does is basically anytime the transmitters and receivers are powered on, they're going to automatically start recording. So that is definitely sometimes a nice feature just in case you might forget to press record. But in my case, I tend to normally remember, according to my habits, to press record and stop record. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn off the auto recording. Let's swipe up to exit out of here. Let's see what else we have. We do have the speaker icon over here, speaker option. So when this receiver is connected to your mobile phone via the adapters over here, the USB-C and Lightning, do you want your mobile phone to play back any of that audio? So for an example, once you're done recording and you want to play back and listen to that audio, you can do do that by enabling the speaker option over here. So let's exit out of the speaker option over here by sliding up, and we'll come over to the next option over here, which is timecode. This is definitely a very nice feature. Let's go ahead and enter the timecode menu, and we do have a few options over here that we can select from. For an example, we can adjust the frame rate. You guys may be interested to see what frame rates this is capable of doing. So for an example, right now I have mine set to 29.97 frames per second, which is basically matching the frame rate of my camera. And we can go as low as 23.98 frames per second. We got 24, 25, 29.97 DF, 29.97 frames per second, and 30 frames per second is maxed out. So if we're done selecting that one, let's go back to 29.97 frames per second. Let's exit out of there. We do also have the option to select the running option as far as the real time, or we got the free. In most cases, I like to use the real time. So let's swipe up out of here. And next over here, finally onto the right hand side, we have the different modes. So we got mode 1, mode 2, 3, 4, and 5. So depending on your needs, you can select the mode that works best for you. So let's come back over here to mode 1 for an example. We're going to swipe up to exit out of there. And now if you want to actually go ahead and enable the time code, you can just go ahead and simply press this button over here onto the top right hand side to turn it on. So if you're all done and configured over here within the time code, you can swipe up, exit out of there, and we'll come over to the next option. So here we have the pairing option. If you need to manually pair the transmitters and the receivers, in my case, I have not needed to manually pair. Every time I take them out of the charging case, they automatically pair and sync. So let's swipe up to exit out of here. So let's scroll over to see the next option, which is display. We can select that. We can adjust the brightness of the display and along with the backlight. So let's just go ahead and scroll up to exit out of there. And finally, we do have the general system settings. So let's select on this one. We can adjust the time and date, the headset noise cancellation. We can activate that. We can see the storage. I want to click on that one just to show you. It's telling us how much storage time we have remaining. Let's scroll up to exit out of the storage. We have the firmware version. You guys may be interested to see that. So the RX, this is the firmware version that I'm currently using at the time of making this video, along with transmitter 1 and transmitter 2. We can exit out of here. We can adjust the language and also do a factory reset. So guys, hopefully now you're a little bit more familiar with the Ultra Kit and some of the features and overall how to use it and get set up. If you guys do have any additional questions, feel free to let me know down into the comment section down below. And overall, I've been definitely very impressed with this kit, especially the audio and all of these features, 32-bit float. We got that LED light here onto the top, which is indicating how much battery the charging case has itself, and along with the USB-C port that we have here at the back to actually charge the charging case itself. Overall, definitely very impressed. Well guys, it looks like a wrap for today's video. I definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys have any other further questions, be sure to let me know down into the comment section down below. I will definitely reply and respond and give you an answer if I can. And even if you have any general feedback or anything that you want to share, I do definitely appreciate it. Again, if you guys are interested in this microphone kit, I will leave a link down into the description for the product that you guys can purchase possibly on Amazon or even directly on their website. And overall, I think that's a wrap, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys onto the next video. Till next time, peace.